I once went through a really bad breakup that hurt my mental health. But things changed when I met a therapist who introduced me to Stoicism. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that's very popular today, you might know. The Daily Stoic on Instagram, Stoicon, a global event, or books like Discipline is Destiny. Even on YouTube, many people search for Stoicism and Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who wrote Meditations. He didn't invent Stoicism. It started in Greece with philosophers like Zeno and Cleanthes, but most of what we know comes from Roman writers. The problem is that sources like Cicero often criticized it, so we can't be sure how accurate everything is. Still, even though these ideas were written nearly 2,000 years ago in a different language and culture, they still feel relatable today, like a high five across time. Marcus's Meditations wasn't meant as a polished philosophy book, but as personal notes to guide his own life. That's because back then, philosophy wasn't just academic, it was like self-help, a way to live better. One of the key Stoic lessons is the dichotomy of control. Focus on what you can control, and stop stressing about what you can't. The Stoics believe that the only thing we truly control is our judgments about the world, not the events themselves. For example, if someone insults you, the insult itself doesn't hurt you. It's your judgment about it that causes the anger. If you change that judgment, the anger disappears. This isn't easy, but with practice, you can train yourself to step back and see your emotions more clearly. Stoics thought emotions always contain a judgment inside, and you must make sure those judgments are true. For instance, when someone feels anxious about failing, the hidden judgment is often, if I fail, everything is ruined. But that's not true. So letting go of that thought reduces anxiety. From this perspective, the Stoics argued that virtue, having accurate, rational judgments, is the only real good. Fame, wealth, or success mean nothing if your judgments are wrong. As Marcus Aurelius said, the quality of your thoughts shapes the quality of your life. Finally, Stoics taught that living well means aligning your judgments with reality, and also living according to human nature, remembering that people are social creatures meant to work together. The Stoics believed humans are naturally social, meant to live in communities and care for one another. They thought all people share a spark of the divine. So the good person values the well-being of everyone over just themselves. Their ideal figure was the sage, a master of wisdom who always lives in line with nature, avoids false judgments, and stays calm even in hard times. While we now know their science was wrong, it shows they were trying to use the best knowledge of their time to explain life and connect philosophy with how the universe works. People in the ancient world were just as smart as us. The Stoics believed that physics and ethics were connected. They thought our judgments should match reality because what happens to us affects our soul. For them, the divine spark inside everyone was real, not just a metaphor. Today, many people use Stoicism more like self-help, but back then it was much deeper. Some think Stoicism means suppressing feelings, but that's not true. The Stoics said you can't avoid emotions, but you should guide them to match reality. For example, you might feel sad after partying too much, but you know it will pass. A sage wouldn't be controlled by extreme passion, grief, or fear. Critics argue that Stoicism removes romance and passion from life, but Stoics believe those emotions can mislead us. Instead, they focused on calm, balanced emotions that fit the real world. This connects to cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which helps people replace false beliefs with healthier ones, an approach inspired by Stoicism. But some criticize both CBT and Stoicism for encouraging people to accept things they maybe shouldn't. Psyopy claims it can reduce employee stress and improve workplaces by using AI therapy, but it costs nearly $13,000 per month per employee. Critics like philosopher Mark Fisher argue that stress and depression aren't just personal issues. They often come from living in unfair systems like capitalism, where workers are overworked for the profit of a few. Therapy alone can't solve that. Real change needs politics and social action. Stoicism also faces a passivity problem, since it focuses on controlling only your inner thoughts. Some ask, should we just accept injustice, like climate change or racism, without acting? Ancient Stoics themselves had mixed views. They said women should study philosophy, but mostly to serve men, and they accepted slavery. while only asking masters to be kinder. Modern readers have to pick out the useful lessons while rejecting the sexism and acceptance of slavery. This shows a bigger issue. It's hard to live a good life if society denies you freedom or equality. Stoics respond that true freedom comes from your mind, not your circumstances. You can be physically chained, but still free if you think rightly. That idea challenges us to ask what really makes a good human life. For the writer, personal reflection revealed that past pain came not just from heartbreak, but from realizing the relationship itself was abusive. It's hard to face the fact that someone you loved could treat you badly. So often people avoid thinking about painful problems, both personally and globally. Stoicism can help by giving tools to face difficulties without feeling crushed by them. For me, during a very dark time, making Philosophy Tube was a lifeline. My abuser hated the show, so it's meaningful that it has now been running for 10 years. I began in my parents' bedroom, giving away my philosophy degree online. And thanks to the support of viewers, it has grown into a full production with a team. That support also allowed me to write and stage my play The Prince in London, complete with a cast, musicians, and fight choreographers. You can watch the play, behind the scenes, and a Q&A on Nebula, and subscriptions there directly help me keep making more work. We even released new merchandise to support rising costs as venues. Crew wages and moving expenses add up. Despite financial challenges, I'm grateful to have food, housing, and even new opportunities, like auditioning for big shows. Sharing philosophy and culture remains my passion, and I want everyone to feel it belongs to them.